Go.
Welcome to the Sports Star Podcast 3. Today we're going over 2021 Way Too Early Mock Draft. Please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification. And visit our website. The link is in the description. So we have the Jacksonville Jaguars getting the first overall pick, and we have them picking Trevor Lawrence, a QB out of Clemson. What do you think about this pick?
Yeah, so Trevor Lawrence obviously is a fantastic player. He's got the arm, he's got the legs, he's got everything you would want in a first overall pick. And as long as he can translate those to the next level, I think he's going to be a great franchise quarterback for the Jaguars.
With the second overall pick, we have the Washington Redskins selecting Penei Sewell, offensive tackle out of Oregon.
Yeah, so this pick was, I think, Penei Sewell is by far, like, maybe not by far, but I'd say he's the best player in this draft class. He's an absolute mauler in the pass and run game, and if he plays at that level again this year, he might very well be the best tackle prospect ever coming out of college.
Yeah, and Washington really just needs the best player out of the draft anyway.
Yeah, and they need a replacement at left tackle.
So at third overall, we have the Atlanta Falcons picking Patrick Surtain Jr., center back out of Alabama.
Yeah, so the Falcons, their secondary is completely depleted. They need anything back there. So this is just like he's going to be the number one corner out there immediately. So yeah, he's going to be a vital piece to the Falcons in their coming years. Some may say this is a bit of a reach, but I think this is a vital, like, they need Surtain.
Next, we have the Carolina Panthers selecting Shaun Wade, cornerback out of Ohio State.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that like the Panthers might go Justin Fields here, and Teddy Bridgewater might just be a bridge quarterback. But anyway, I think no, their secondary is like the Falcons. It's just too depleted. They need someone back there, and Shaun Wade is a great player. He's going to be the number one guy there this year, and he has a lot of versatility. So.
Next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Gregory.
Yeah, this year's draft class has a lot of weird names.
Yeah, edge out of Miami, Florida.
Yeah, so Rousseau got 15.5 sacks this year, and he's just a really good player. I think that the Bengals, I think their D-line is probably the strength of their team right now as it is. But if you look at where they are picking at number 5, I would have, if I'm the Bengals, I would really just want an offensive tackle here, and I think it's a little too high for Walker Little, who's the next guy on my board. But so I guess they just go BPA and select Gregory Rousseau, and maybe that opens up like a trading piece for someone else.
Now we have the Detroit Lions selecting Micah Parsons, LB out of Penn State.
Yeah, and the Lions just need someone there in that linebacking unit pretty bad now. It's either Dylan Moses or Micah Parsons, and I think Micah Parsons just has Dylan Moses was injured almost all of this year, so he just has a leg up in that standpoint. So, yeah.
Now we have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting from the LA Rams, Walker Little, offensive tackle, Stanford.
Yeah, Walker Little is a really, really good player. I watched some of his tape. He's really, really good. He's a mauler, especially in the pass game, which I think honestly, I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be a pass-heavy or run-heavy team if they get both Lawrence and Little. But if it comes out that they are a pass-heavy team, then Little is a no-brainer. because he's just such a mauler. I don't know. I don't know if the Rams, when they made the Jalen Ramsey trade, if they were even thinking about if this pick would be inside the top 10 or not. Because I feel like the Rams can't get past the top 10 this year. They're going to go from like Super Bowl 2 years ago to straight into the top 10 in a couple of years. So, yeah, I think Walker Little comes off the board right here.
Next, we have the New York Giants selecting Dylan Moses, left back from Alabama.
Yeah, so Dylan Moses is a great linebacker. It was him or Micah Parsons. And, if I'm the Giants, I would rather have Micah Parsons just because he's that run stopper, and they need a run stopper pretty bad. But Dylan Moses brings a little bit of versatility when it comes to playing, like, linebacker and edge. He can play both pretty well. So I guess they really need both. So I guess he's like a two birds with one stone kind of pick.
Yeah. Okay, next we have the Chicago Bears selecting Jordan Fields, QB out of Ohio State.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields out of Ohio State.
Yeah. So Justin Fields started his career at Georgia, and then transferred to Ohio State and was incredible there his first season. The Bears should be jumping up and down if Justin Fields is still available at what is this, like the 8th, 9th pick, maybe 10th. But this is like value if I've ever seen some. Justin Fields has the potential. If it was at any other draft class, he might have gone like number 2, maybe number 3 overall. But he just fell in this particular case. So yeah, it's just a really good scenario for the Bears.
And this is saying that the Trubisky and that Foles it was a total bust.
If Trubisky doesn't play up to like even what this year was, or like 2019, and if Nick Foles plays like average, they're probably gonna cut Nick Foles because of his salary, and then they're gonna probably just let Trubisky walk, and then they'll probably just draft a quarterback.
Yeah. So we have the Oakland Raiders selecting Marvin Wilson, a defensive tackle out of Florida State.
Yeah, so Marvin Wilson is like Derek Brown 2.0. He should have probably come out this year, but I think it was just maybe – I don't know what he saw exactly, but he decided to return to Florida State to play his senior season. If he plays like I expect him to at a high level, then he should go early, and I think the Raiders, they could really use a guy like Marvin Wilson.
Yes. We have the Miami Dolphins selecting now Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU. Yeah, he could have come out this year too. Yeah. Honestly.
Well, I'm not sure. I think he's going to be a junior this season. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, I think there was like 5 or 6 picks right before this where I was thinking, should I put Jamar Chase here? And then I decided to move on and do a different one. Especially the Raiders pick, because I was like, well, what do I put here? And if it's like Marvin Wilson over Jamar Chase, obviously you pick Jamar Chase. But it's just that they have so many wide receivers now. Miami, go ahead.
And it's kind of funny that Tua would be united with Jamar Chase. They're like rivals of last year, kind of.
Yeah. So they'd be on the same team. But Jamar Chase, well, the Dolphins should be absolutely jumping up and down. They just got the best receiver in the draft class. Maybe the best receiver coming out of college ever. But yeah, he could have gone very well, like number 3, number 4, number 5 overall. He just falls so far to the Dolphins here.
Yeah. Now we have the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Trey Lance, QB out of NDSU.
North Dakota.
North Dakota State University.
Yeah, so Trey Lance is like so he's pretty famous now because he had like 28 touchdowns to no picks this season. And if he comes out next season, which we all expect him to do, well, first, he's not playing against very high competition. He's in the FCS. But if he does come out, first, he's going to have a lot higher competition. And second, he's probably going to have to sit a season behind a seasoned veteran. And I feel like there's no other person better other than maybe like Aaron Rodgers or someone like maybe someone maybe like Patrick Mahomes, but he's nowhere close to retiring. So
Yeah.
I think there's no one better. There's almost no one better than Ben Roethlisberger, and he sits a season behind him. Ben retires, and Trey Lance takes the wheels.
Yeah, for sure. Now we have the Miami Dolphins selecting again for the Houston Texans, from the Houston Texans, Javon Holland, safety out of Oregon.
Yeah, so 2 picks ago, they picked Jamar Chase. They could have very easily gotten him here, but you just don't risk him. If you got Jamar Chase at, 11, 12, you don't risk him. Just take him immediately.
Yeah.
And now this is going to be their Minka replacement. I highly doubt they trade for Jamal Adams. But, yeah, he's a really hard hitter. He's a really – he plays slot corner a lot, I think, for Oregon. And that's – really the Dolphins could definitely use a guy like Javon Holland.
Yeah, for sure. Now we have the Los Angeles Chargers selecting Samuel Cosmi.
Yeah,
Cosmi. Offensive tackle.
Yeah, so the Chargers' offensive line is absolutely depleted. They need anything there. And if Herbert wants to have even a even a decent year in his first official year starting for the Chargers, he needs to have a good offensive line, and Samuel Cosmi is a good step to that. He's a really nice tackle, and he's a step in the right direction for the Chargers.
Now with the Arizona Cardinals, we have them selecting Paulson Adebo.
Yeah.
Center back out of Stanford.
Cornerback.
Yeah, cornerback.
But yeah, so this is a pick. I guess it might be. So this pick could easily change if not Larry Fitz. Oh my God, I'm blanking.
Kyler Murray.
No, their corner.
Oh.
Patrick Peterson. Why did I forget that? Patrick Peterson. If he retires, which he's been thinking for the past 3-4 seasons, if he does retire, then I think that this would be his replacement pick. And even if he doesn't retire, they bring in Adebo. He he probably comes in every so often. And once Patrick Peterson leaves, he just becomes a full-time, number 1, maybe number 2.
All right. We have the New England Patriots selecting Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama. For sure. The Patriots really need the best available wide receiver here because Julian Edelman, he's slowly declining, but he's still a pretty good one, a pretty good wide receiver. They just need a fresh face for wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think I guess you could count N'Keal Harry, their first-round pick last year. But they just need speed, and I think nobody in their wide receiver corp can run a sub 460 or sub 4.6 or sub 4.5, which means they have absolutely no speed whatsoever. And Jalen Waddle is basically a speed machine. He is super fast. They need that kind of guy.
Yeah, so now we have the New York Jets selecting DeVonta
Smith.
DeVonta Smith, another wide receiver out of Alabama.
Yeah, so back-to-back wide receivers out of Alabama. I think DeVonta Smith is actually a better one, but it's just that the Patriots absolutely need speed, and that's why they took Jalen Waddle. Of course, they're the Patriots, so they're probably just going to trade down, but if they do pick, I would hope they pick Jalen Waddle because that's what they need. For the Jets, I think DeVonta Smith is a really nice receiver. I think he'd go straight to the number 1 role, and Denzel Mims would be a nice complement to him. He just fit in really well with the Jets.
Right now we have the Cleveland Browns selecting Alex Leatherwood, offensive tackle slash offensive guard out of Alabama. Three
Yeah,
straight Alabamas.
yeah.
Um,
So the Browns take another guy out of Alabama. I actually did not plan this. But I think Alex Leatherwood is a little inconsistent at times. Like half the time he'll make a really good block, and half the time he'll just miss. But when he does, well, I guess it's like 3/4 to 1/4. But when he does make a good block, it's a really good block. Um, and I think he plays a little better at guard, but you can kick him outside to tackle if you really need it. I think the Browns will play him at guard though.
so he's a hit or miss basically.
Yeah, he's a hit or miss.
So now we have the Indianapolis Colts selecting Israel
Mukuamu, yeah, I wanted to hear you try to say that name.
cornerback out of South Carolina.
Yeah, Israel Mukuamu, and I think the Colts. I think it's just a position that they don't need like desperately, but it would not be nice to have some depth there, and he could probably come in and start right away.
Yeah. So Philadelphia Eagles, we have Richard LeCounte, safety out of Georgia.
Richard
LeCounte.
LeCounte.
Out of Georgia.
Yeah, I would have. I'm not sure if they're gonna pick a safety or corner here. I think it's got to be one of the two though. They absolutely need something there, because I felt like even after you bring in Darius Slay, that's still a secondary that is pretty lackluster. So you bring in Richard LeCounte here, and he probably starts for you right away.
Now we have the Denver Broncos selecting Jalen Twyman, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So I didn't see too many holes on this Broncos team. I mean, yeah, they have. And look at that D line. Honestly, like Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, Jarrell Casey, that is scary. I think Jalen Twyman's like a replacement slash like I guess he could start right away, but he's more of like a replacement piece for Jarrell Casey whenever he does start to like decline and you know he starts to decline as a player. So it's more of a replacement piece. They could probably go corner here or maybe like safety or maybe like offensive line.
Yeah. So now we have the Tennessee Titans selecting Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota.
Yeah, this is our favorite team. So I would love to see them like pick up a like top tier wide receiver in this draft. And that's what I had them taking right here. Rashad Bateman's a really good player, and he fit right into that number 2 role behind AJ Brown. Corey Davis, I don't know if we're gonna sign him if we draft Rashad Bateman. So he might just walk. Yeah, but Rashad Bateman, hopefully the Titans can pick him up.
So now we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Jamie Newman, a quarterback out of Georgia. He was a transfer.
Yeah, so he's transferring to Georgia this year. So it depends on how he plays. I don't know if he's like so he was at Wake Forest and he was pretty good actually. This past year. And now at Georgia, it just is he's got to perform. If he performs, he's got a first round pick potential. If he doesn't, he's going to drop. But Jamie Newman I feel like he's going to come into that Buccaneers team and just sit for a year. Maybe the Buccaneers go quarterback here and maybe like a guy who has high potential and is really raw, so he just sits behind Brady for a year, and then you start him. Or they could go like I don't know, wide receiver, O-line, defense, and just try to go all out that last season with Brady before he retires.
Yeah. So now we have San Francisco 49ers selecting Rondale Moore, a wide receiver out of Purdue. I think he's a really fast.
Yeah, Rondale Moore is a really electric, really fast wide receiver. I watched some of his tape. He's really electric. every other play he was getting the ball, and it was the entire Purdue offense was centered around Rondale Moore. He's got to be a first-round pick. I think, especially if he can keep it up this year, I think he's going to lock himself in. And I think the 49ers could really use like a deep threat like Rondale Moore that can get open, even like short routes, but especially like stretch the safeties deep and then open up that running game for that Shanahan offense.
Yeah, he might even be like the new Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, he could totally go into that role.
So now we have the Dallas Cowboys selecting Andre Cisco, a safety out of Syracuse.
Yeah, so Andre Cisco, he's a really good player. I think he just in this mock he just fell way too far, I feel like. But yeah, the Cowboys could use some secondary help. I know they got Trevon Diggs, but this is just I think to shore up that secondary.
Okay, now we have the Buffalo Bills selecting Pat.
Freiermuth.
Really long names.
Yeah.
Pat. Just say Pat. A tight end out of Penn State. Yeah.
Yeah, Pat Freiermuth is he's a really good target for I think, and if he goes to the Bills, Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs to throw to, and then he has his big reliable target in Pat Freiermuth. And I think I was gonna have them take a wide receiver, and then I looked at the board for wide receivers, and there just wasn't anyone that I wanted to put up here. I didn't feel like there was a really need for the Bills don't really need a wide receiver very much, but I mean they don't really need a tight end very much either. It's just to give Josh Allen a really good target to throw to now, and a really reliable and consistent one.
Yeah. So now we have Minnesota Vikings selecting Tyler Shelvin, defensive tackle.
I forgot to put his college. Sorry about that.
That's
Yeah. So the Vikings have been building up the offensive line a lot in like the past years. I feel like they're gonna go either secondary this coming year or like defensive line, just because there's just or maybe actually running back, because depending on how Dalvin Cook's like extension plays out. But if Tyler Shelvin is available, they might go his way just because he's a really valuable player.
Now we have Seattle Seahawks selecting Cade Mays, OL from Tennessee.
Yeah, so the Seahawks have just been lackluster at the offensive line for basically as long as Russell Wilson's been there. Yeah, he needs some offensive line help, and that's I was thinking about putting a running back here, maybe Travis Etienne, but then I was like, they have Chris Carson, they have Rashad Penny, and now they have Carlos Hyde, but none of them are going to succeed if they don't have an offensive line. So I decided to build the trenches here.
All right, so now we have New Orleans Saints selecting Travis Etienne, a running back out of Clemson.
Yeah, so this is by far the best running back in the draft class. He could go in like the teens in the first round. He just drops a little bit in this mock. Why is he going to the Saints, you ask? Because I don't think they're going to have enough money to pay Alvin Kamara. And maybe they do, but I highly doubt it. I mean, okay, it's a 50-50, honestly, but I don't think it's worth it, especially if you can get maybe Travis Etienne or Najee Harris in the draft. That would be preferable for me.
Yeah, so now we have the Baltimore Ravens selecting Sage Surratt, I think, a wide receiver out of Wake Forest.
Yeah, so this was one of Jimmy Newman's targets back at Wake Forest, I believe. And I think the Ravens just really need one more target for Lamar Jackson, sorry. They have a really good offense right now, and I think just one more maybe wide receiver, and that just becomes unstoppable. Because now you have really good wide receivers to throw to, and you have Lamar Jackson, obviously. And then I think their defense is actually like really solid. It's by far, I think, maybe not the best, but maybe definitely top 3.
It's up there.
Yeah. It's a really
And
good
also picking up Calais Campbell from the Jaguars
yes,
helped a lot.
it did.
So now we have the Green Bay Packers selecting Liam Eichenberg, an offensive tackle from Notre Dame.
Yeah, so I this is like the Brian Bulaga replacement. I was gonna put a wide receiver here, but then again, there's just no one really valuable here, and it's a really deep wide receiver class. So hopefully they pick someone up in the second round if this plays out. Liam Eichenberg is someone who should have gone like teens of the first round. He definitely fell in this mock, but he would definitely shore up the line for Aaron Rodgers and possibly Jordan Love.
All right, so now, last but not least, the Kansas City Chiefs. You have them selecting Quincy Roche,
Roche.
an edge out of Miami.
Yeah, so Quincy Roche, I don't know. He's like a borderline first round guy for me personally. Yeah, Miami, in Florida, they have both Quincy Roche off one side, and then they have oh my gosh, who was it? Who was like the guy I put to the Bengals earlier?
I have no idea.
Can you go back to the
I
Bengals
forgot.
real quick because I have no clue. Can you just scroll back to the Bengals slide? They're like 5th overall. I'm feeling really embarrassed. Oh, Gregory Rousseau. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. I'm feeling a little embarrassed right now. So they have Gregory Rousseau off one end and then Quincy Roche off the other. And like this is just a really value pick for the Chiefs who, I mean, they could probably maybe kick him inside. And if they decide not to pay Chris Jones, then Chris Jones, or he could fill in for Chris Jones. And he's just like a really valuable player just to give depth on that D-line for the Chiefs.
All right, so please remember we are a new channel, so please like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications. And check out our website. The link will be in the description. Thank you.